Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Carly. I'm sorry if you're new and we have to meet when I look like this, but I know I'm breaking out, but just let's ignore that. I'm really trying here, okay? For today, I'm gonna be doing my everyday makeup, usually like my routine. This is what I would do if I was going like a wearable everyday look. Sometimes I might add in eyeshadow or something, but that's more of like a glam look, and I usually do my face different when I do that. So I usually start off by moisturizing, but I forgot and I'm too lazy to get up and go do that again, so we're not gonna do that. The first step I do is I do my eyebrows. I've used to do my eyebrows like after my foundation. I sometimes will do that like if I feel like it, but I don't feel like that today, so I'm not gonna do that, and usually I would do them before. To fill in my eyebrows, I used the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in Blonde. Like, this is supposed to be blonde. It's actually really dark. To fill them in, I use the Jeffree Star eyebrow brush. I bought this at Morphe. It's only $5, but I got it for $3 because it was on sale. I use the Morphe M432 to carve out my eyebrows. To blend out my concealer and stuff after I carve them out, I use this Real Techniques brush. It's a deluxe concealer brush. To carve them out under my eyebrows, I use a Tarte Shape Tape, and I am in the shade Fair Neutral. To carve out the top, I use the Makeup Forever HD foundation stick, and I am in the shade Y315. I also use the Holipop Dewy Cara. I think it's a clear mascara, but I use it as eyebrow gel because it works the same. I'm not going to show you how I do my eyebrows. If you want to know, then I don't know, maybe I can do a whole video on it, but I don't really know if people would be interested in that. And maybe later in the future, if I have more of a platform. I guess my eyebrows took me 20 minutes because when I started this video, it was like 8 and now it's 8:20. So the next thing I do is I prime my face using the Too Faced Hangover Primer. And this is my go-to primer. I also like to use the MAC Strobe Cream. Usually I use this if I want to go for like a more glowy look, or if I'm not really going anywhere like today. I'm going to use this today because I don't want to really waste my good one. My friend got me this for Christmas. I really don't even know if it's a primer, but I like to use it as one. I think it works just fine. Okay, so now that that is on, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever HD foundation stick. I'll usually use this when I'm in a rush or when I really don't feel like putting it on my hand and then blending it. This is like my go-to when I kind of just want to get my makeup over with, or when I'm too lazy to do a pump. I usually just do 3 on my cheek, like 3 lines, and then I do 1 on my chin, and then I go from like the middle of my forehead out, and then do that on both sides, and I do a little bit on my nose. I also am not really going to be blending down my neck today because it doesn't really feel necessary because I don't really have to go out anywhere. I am blending it onto my eyelids because I don't want my eyelids to be plain. I want them to match the rest of my face. If I feel like I need more foundation, I will go back and put a few more swipes where I feel like it's needed. I blend using the Morphe sponge, this one. If I feel satisfied with how my foundation looks, then I go in with a foundation brush to just blend it out a little bit more and extra and blend it into like my hairline so I don't have like a line, and then I usually blend it down my neck as well. I'm using the Morphe X Jaclyn Hill brush, foundation brush. It came in her set. I don't know if you can buy this separately. I washed my brushes yesterday and this one's still kind of wet. My foundation's done and I can move on to concealer. I just started using the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer and I like it. It's full coverage. It's just like the Tarte Shape Tape, but cheaper. So if you really can't afford high-end makeup, then I recommend this e.l.f. concealer. I'm in the shade Light Sand. I also used to use the Morphe concealer, but I feel like it just ran out too fast for me. I also was thinking about buying the Revolution concealer because I heard that it's also a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape, but I just felt like this had better reviews, so I just got this, and this was cheaper and I felt like buying a cheaper one. So to blend in my concealer, I use the same sponge I did for my foundation, but I only use this to blend out my chin and then my upper lip, or like any spots on my cheeks if I put concealer there, and my nose as well. For my forehead and my under eyes, I use a brush, and this also came in the Jaclyn Hill set. This brush is JH07, and I usually just tap it out and kind of spread it out through my forehead. I just popped that pimple. It's not going to cover up, and I'm not mad about it right now. So I don't do all of my concealer at once because I feel like if I have my under eyes sitting or my chin sitting or my forehead sitting, it starts drying and it's harder for me to blend. So I like doing my chin and my forehead first together, and then I do my under eyes, but I actually do one under eye at a time. It's just easier for me, and I also use the same Jaclyn Hill brush to blend under. So really the first thing I do when I'm blending my concealer, I just spread it out, and then I start patting it in a little bit and just using motions that help me blend it in well. I usually bring it up to like about the end of my eyebrow just so that it brightens it up and makes my eyes look like brighter. Concealer makes such a big difference. Like, look at this eye compared to this eye. I tried the ColourPop concealer once and I really hated it, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I felt like it creased a lot and it just didn't work well with my skin. I will go back with a sponge and blend everywhere just so there's no streaks and just so that everything comes together. So the next thing I do after my eyebrows and my base are on, I take my airspun powder and I bake. In my last video, I explained how I bake and why I do it and like where I usually do it, so I'm not really going to go into depth on this video. I also have used the Fit Me Loose powder, and that is also a good one. I know a lot of people who use that. I haven't really tried any other powders just because I'm not really into powder, but I just ordered a Kylie's I forget what it's called, illuminating powder. I think that's what it's called. While my bake sits, I usually prime my eyelids if I don't already have eyeshadow on. And I'm not doing eyeshadow today because on my regular makeup, I don't usually wear eyeshadow. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in Fair Neutral. And then I'm using the same BH Cosmetics brush that I used to help clean my eyebrows to blend it in. And I go ahead and set my eyelids as well because I don't want them to crease. Okay, so now that I look like this, I'm going to be wiping away all this powder with this random brush. I do not know where it's from. I know in my last video that I said I used this Real Techniques brush and I didn't really like it, so I'm starting to use this one. It's literally just a random powder brush. But I start by wiping my eye, and then I wipe it down, and then I kind of just wipe all of it away. And then I do the same to the other eye. I swipe down, then I swipe outward. Now that I just did my loose powder, I like to go over it with the pressed powder. I use the Fit Me Matte and Poreless pressed powder in the shade 110. I usually just put this all over my face. Okay, so now that the base to my makeup is basically on, I can start doing my bronzer, my blush, my highlight, everything else. So once I do my powder, the next step I do is my bronzer, and depending on if I'm feeling bronzy, if I'm feeling glowy, I use different bronzers. Today I'm feeling more of a neutral look since this is like my neutral everyday makeup tutorial. So I'm going to be using the Kylie bronzer in the shade Toasty. I just use circular motions, and then I also pat it in. I like to bring it down to like the middle of my eye. I feel like that just helps me make me look more snatched. If you're gonna bring it down as far as I do, you want to start up here with a lot and then blend it down because you don't want a chunk of bronzer down here. You want the majority of the bronzer to be up more by your ear. And then I do the same exact thing to this side. You always want to try to make sure that both sides are even because you can literally tell which side I contoured and which side I didn't. I don't really use cream contour unless I'm feeling really bronzy. In my last video I used cream contour, but that's only because I was doing inspired Kardashian look and they're usually really bronzy and like chiseled. Forgot to say what brush I used for my pressed powder. I used this Morphe brush. It came in a set of them. Doesn't have a name, like a number, whatever they're called. It's just a Morphe brush and it came in a set. And then for my bronzer, I use another Jaclyn Hill brush. I use mostly Jaclyn Hill brushes because I bought a set and they're really good. This brush is the JH02. I use it for bronzer because I like how it's big and it gets a lot of product, and I feel like it's just really good for my bronzer. I did just order a bunch of brushes and these don't even fit, so I don't even know how I'm gonna fit more. I guess I'm gonna have to get another jar. That's basically it for my bronzer. So now I'm gonna bake because I like it to look clean. Okay, so once my face bronzer is done, I will move on to contouring my nose. Don't really know if my nose contour works or if I'm really just putting bronzer on my nose. I like doing it. It's fun. It's a part of my routine. To do it, I use a brush from the Naked Heat palette. For my nose contour, I always use the Kylie bronzer because I feel like I don't like a harsh line. I'm not really going to go into depth on how I contour my nose. I really recommend the Kylie bronzer if you don't really like to have a lot of bronzer, if you like to look more neutral, because it is very soft, I feel like. Okay, so now that my nose has bronzer on it, contour on it, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to clean it up as well. I filmed myself doing my friend's makeup and she has half the footage and I have half the footage because my phone died during it. I kind of want to post an IGTV of it. That was my plan. But I can't really do that if I don't even have basically the footage.
Who are you talking to?
I'm filming my YouTube video again. Most of the time do my eyeshadow right now while this is all sitting because it gives me something to do. I don't know, I like doing it during this time. Or my eyeliner, whatever I'm doing for the day. But in my last video, I know I did my eyeshadow first, and that's because of the look I was doing because I needed to put tape on, and if I were to put tape on right now, it would take off some of my makeup, so I don't want that to happen. But if I'm not like taping my eyes or anything, then I usually do it right here. I also do my blush while this is all on. My favorite blush is the Tarte blush in Feisty. The brush I use again is the Jaclyn Hill brush from the same set. It is the JH04 brush. I usually just swirl it around in the pan, and yes, I've used so much of this. I usually angle it like this so it's going upward and I just swipe it. I usually smile sometimes when I do it, just so that like rises my cheeks. I pat it mostly in the front and then I drag it going back. So now that I am content with the blush, I'm going to wipe away the bake on my nose because I like putting blush on my nose. I'm going to wipe it away with the same random brush I have, and I like to like pinch it so that I keep the line going. Now that I wiped that off, I just swirl it on my nose, and I like to connect it to this blush just to make sure it looks more natural. If I feel like that this hasn't been sitting for long enough, I will do my highlight like right now while it's still sitting, or I'm gonna wipe it off. To wipe away this, I like to wipe it downward because if I feel like if I wipe it up, I might wipe it onto my bronzer, and I don't want that to happen, so I like to wipe it downward just so I get it away from it because I don't want it to get on it and cover it. And if you feel like you have a line, like I kind of feel like there's a line of powder right there, I'll go back with my bronzer brush and just go over it and blend it out a little bit. Okay, so the next step to my makeup routine is my highlight. For highlight today, I'm going to be using the Bretman Rock X Morphe highlighter palette. I won this in a giveaway. Depending on how highlighted I want to look, like if I don't want the highlighter to hide the blush, then I will use this Jaclyn Hill brush. It is the JH09, and I will not go past like the end of my eye. I'm also going to be using the fan brush that comes with it because I feel like I don't really care. I want to look glowed tonight. I'm just going to be dabbing it into both of them, and then I'm just going to be swirling it onto my cheek. Oh, I need to make this side look like that side. This side, it looks so wet and nice. I always put highlighter above my eyebrows and I kind of drag it up a little bit. I start down here and then bring it up. I'm not really the type of person to put highlighter on my chin or on my cupid's bow don't know why, but I don't like how it looks on me because I feel like it just gets wiped away. To do my nose highlight, eyebrow highlight, and then also my inner corners, I use the Morphe M74 brush, and I'm going to be putting it at the tip of my nose. I might blend it out a little bit too because I feel like it's too much. I don't really like my nose to be too shiny because then it may appear oily. I will also put it on the bridge of my nose. I'll also be putting it on my brow bone. I usually put it right by the arch and then I blend under. I do not feel like putting highlight in my inner corner. I'm not really a fan of that unless I'm feeling really glowy and extra that day, but usually I do not put it in my inner corner. I do when I do eyeshadow though, but like on like a regular basis I don't really do it. So the next thing I will do is I will put on more brow gel using the same clear mascara I used in the beginning of the video. Sometimes I like to have my eyelashes look more like eyelash extensions, and I'm kind of in that mood today. But if not, if I'm not really feeling like I want my eyelashes to stand out, I want more of my skin to stand out, I will just put on mascara and call it a day. Won't even curl them, won't even do anything. Ow. I use this random eyelash curler from Sephora. I bought it a long time ago. Don't even know if they carry it anymore. So now that my eyelashes are curled, I'm going to be putting mascara just on the tips of them mainly. I might put a few strokes on all of them, but mainly I'm going to be doing the edges just because I want them to appear more natural. The mascara I'm going to be using is Thrive Cosmetics. It's supposed to be liquid eyelash extensions. I've seen this a lot on my Instagram. I've seen like a bunch of ads for it. I bought this at Ulta. Ulta carries it, so you can go ahead and get it there. I'm just gonna be putting, like, swiping it at the edge of the end of my lashes. And then I'm going to progressively go down a little bit more just so that I add a little bit more to it. Depending on my mood, I might not even put mascara on my bottom lashes because I don't want it to take away from my top lashes. So today I'm not gonna be putting it on my bottom lashes because I'm content with how it looks now. So I'm basically done with my makeup. The only thing left to do is setting spray. I use the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Usually if I'm going out, if I want a dewy look, definitely use this. I also use the Mario Badescu spray. Usually I mix these two together when I'm going out because I want extra coverage, but I'm kind of running out of this and I have more of this, so I think I'm just going to be using this today. Sometimes we'll wipe off the foundation on my lips, but if I'm not really going anywhere, I'll just leave it on because it doesn't really bother me and it makes my look more neutral. So that is basically it for this video. Give me recommendations for other videos that you might want me to do because I'm kind of struggling with what videos to do. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you finished it, thanks for coming back. Like, subscribe, leave a comment of what video you want to see next. I've been using these techniques for a really long time. My routine hasn't really changed. The only thing that might change in between times is when I do my eyebrows or how I do my eyelashes, or if I add things, if I don't add things, switch up products. But usually this is the same order I do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying till the end. Bye. See you in my next video.